Hey guys, I'm RNG Gamer. I play all my games randomly, and let's talk about the PlayStation Portal. When this thing was announced not that long ago, I watched the trailer for it and I just didn't get it. I didn't understand who this was made for or really what you were supposed to do with it. A bunch of you reached out to me and were like, are you excited about it? Are you gonna pick up the PlayStation Portal? And I was like, nah man, of course not. It's a handheld that doesn't really do anything. That just connects to your PlayStation 5 in the house you're already living in, and it just lets you play your PlayStation 5 from a different room in the house. What? And it's $200? That's such a dumb idea. And it came out and I just ignored it. I just kept ignoring it. But several of you reached out to me and told me how amazing it was and how much it actually changed your gaming life. And I didn't believe you. I just did not believe you at all. And then one day I was sitting in my living room, just doom scrolling on my phone, waiting for my kids to get their shoes on and my wife to pick out the shirt she wanted to wear. And I just thought to myself, I wish I was gaming right now. I can't go downstairs and turn on my PS5. It's on the other side of the house. And then I remembered what you all said. Are you excited about it? Are you gonna pick up the PlayStation Portal? And I was like, nah man, of course not. So I decided to pony up the $200 and give the old PlayStation Portal a try. I drove down to my local Best Buy that night, which was the only place in town that had one in stock, and they should have paid me $100 for even walking into that desolate hellscape of a store. I couldn't get anybody to help me find one. They had them locked up behind the counter. I got it. I brought it home. I unboxed it, and I've been playing it like crazy. Now let me just show you what you get in the box. Scratch that. I'm not gonna waste your time doing a dumb unboxing. Here's what you get. You get the box, you get the console, which you're gonna get to see in just a second. You get a charging cable. That's all you get in the box. There's nothing special in here. It's just the console. You get three things. A charging cable, the box, and I'm wasting your time. Just cut it. So I get the bad boy out of the box. I turn on my PS5. I go through the steps to connect it to my PS5, which was only mildly annoying. It was more steps than I was expecting, but it worked. It worked. And I headed upstairs to play the most epic and hardcore white knuckle gaming experience I could think of, Power Wash Simulator. And I proceeded to sit in my chair and play Power Wash Simulator while my kids watched some children's programming on TV. And everything played great and beautifully for about 5 or 6 minutes, at which point the graphics started degrading. They dropped from 1080p to pixelated, garbled mess. I couldn't even tell what was going on. And then a couple minutes later, it would disconnect. And I have to go through the process of reconnecting it to my PS5, which takes about 30 seconds, not 30 minutes, 30 seconds for it to find the PS5 on the network and reestablish a connection to it. And it would find it. It looked beautiful for a few minutes, then the picture would start degrading, and then finally it would disconnect. And I was upset, and I wanted to see if anybody else online was having a similar situation to me. And it turns out tons of you guys were. So many of you were having the same issue with the image degrading and it disconnecting. But you guys had a fix for it. What's the fix? Well, it makes total sense. You plug your PS5 into an Ethernet connection. You can't have the Portal on Wi-Fi and the PS5 on Wi-Fi, and your kid's streaming some crap on TV at the same time. There's just not enough bandwidth for that crap. So I bought an Ethernet switcher box, which cost $40, connected it behind my PC where I live stream, and there is an Ethernet connection that I ran down through the floor to it, and I ran that Ethernet cable around the perimeter of the game room behind shelving like you see behind me, which is a real pain, and around the corner, and around more shelving, and I plugged it into the PS5. And guess what? I never had another signal drop. I never had my PlayStation Portal's image degrade from that point. It worked amazingly. So amazingly, in fact, and I've said this in several other videos, I've gotten in more gameplay since I bought the Portal just like a couple of months ago than I have probably in the rest of the year, just in small little increments while I'm waiting on other people to get ready, or, you know, my wife's getting out of the shower or something. You just grab the Portal, I'll leave it upstairs, play for 10, 15 minutes. It works amazingly, unbelievably amazingly. I can't believe it even works at all. And after the first month of me playing, well, Sony did an update to the firmware to make it more stable and actually work better, even if you don't have a wired Ethernet connection. Now, I can't tell you what this firmware update that Sony did actually does. The firmware that they did actually does. Okay, fine. That's a sentence that exists in this universe now. But it just made everything run smoother. It just seems to be better. I don't know how you do that. Like, it's like those old videos like, would you download a car? Like, can you download RAM onto your computer? I feel like Sony uploaded RAM onto the PlayStation Portal. They just uploaded more megabits into your Wi-Fi connection. Like, that's what they did. It's so weird that it works. But they also added a really interesting feature. If you have PlayStation Plus Ultra or whatever, the one where you can stream games from Sony servers, which is like Sony's version of Microsoft Game Pass, you can do that on your Portal, even if you don't have a PS5. That's pretty freaking incredible. And guess what? It plays exactly like you would expect it to. It plays just like you have a PlayStation 5. That being said, I do live in the South. We don't have the best internet connections here. We're a little behind the times. We're a little behind the times in a lot of ways. We like things slow and steady. And I was going to say calm and collected, but not, not at all. The polar opposite of calm and collected. We like things the way we like them. And the way we like things is for our internet not to be very good and cost twice as much as everywhere else. That's fine. But let's check and see if this freaking Portal will work outside of my house. Let's see if it'll work on public Wi-Fi.
So we're here at McDonald's, the local public McDonald's, to check out their Wi-Fi. Let's see if this thing will work. We're selecting the McDonald's free Wi-Fi right here. There it is, McDonald's free Wi-Fi. Let's see if it even connects to this. Okay, the public network you're trying may require authentication using a web browser. Okay, I gotta scan that with my phone. I'll be right back. It freaking worked. It worked. It connected. I had to confirm the connection on my phone, but it connected. To unlock, press the PlayStation button. Here we go. Let's see how this goes. It can't connect to PS5. Try again. I wonder why it can't connect. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. It won't let me do it. So we're trying the mobile hotspot off my phone. This usually takes a little while anyway, even like at your house. Like this will take 30 seconds to up to a minute. I think because it's just like waiting on the PS5 to turn on. It's just waiting on it to turn on. It actually flipping connected. I mean, the resolution, I'm looking at this, it looks like it's maybe like 720p or something like that. It's definitely not its usual high definition look. They added a Christmas level. Winter Wonder, this is a new update. Let's experience it together. Here we go, man. Okay, so there's some delay. It is just the slightest bit off. So this is some precise platforming here, and I was able to do it. Something like a fighting game might be a little tricky to do on this. Feels like it's maybe a couple of frames delayed more than usual, but that might just be my cell phone. Let's see if I can find another spot with Wi-Fi where it'll work. They say America runs on Dunkin', but does the PlayStation Portal? Let's see if we can connect to Dunkin' Donuts Wi-Fi. There's already some people over here like looking at me. That's fine, man. What we do for YouTube. All right, it says I'm connected. It's going, it's connecting. It's trying it. It's not booting me out like McDonald's did. It's not kicking me out like McDonald's did. Something went wrong. Try again. It may just be that like these flipping restaurants just have their Wi-Fi like locked down against any kind of high bandwidth services like using a PlayStation Portal to stream, you know? It could just be that. Something went wrong. So, McDonald's and Dunkin', we connected to the Wi-Fi, but it did not let us boot into the PS5. It just won't let us do it. I'm sure they have a restriction. Let's go somewhere where there are no restrictions on the Wi-Fi. All right, we're here at the old Chick-fil-A, the chicken fillet sandwich restaurant. And I just went ahead and just like pulled up the Wi-Fi. It didn't ask me to authenticate with my phone. It didn't ask me to do crap. We're in. We're in and we're playing. Okay. All right. So it still looks, the image is a little lower resolution than it was, but I have to say I think that the delay is better than it was on the when I did the mobile hotspot. I feel like I can control the game a lot better. This is like very playable. This is 100% playable. It's so playable I want to keep playing. I'm blown away. Let's try a challenge level. I mean, remember how I said like the image resolution wasn't good? Well, it just went up to like normal. Maybe it just buffered. I don't know what it did, but it looks like pretty decent. Like it looks like it does at home. This feels about as good as it does at home. I'm going to say if you have a decent internet connection, Wi-Fi connection, even on a public Wi-Fi, it's 100% playable. I can't really tell much of a difference between this and being on my home network. I did not think it was going to work. I thought it was going to be pixelated and just disconnect you. Congratulations, Sony, you did it.
So the device does what it's supposed to do, like really well, surprisingly well. But let's talk about some of the other positives to this that I haven't really heard anybody talk about. The first of which really applies to me and other content creators. If you're a content creator and you're holding off on buying one of these because you can't capture gameplay footage from it, right? Because usually your gameplay capture setup is like in the game room with your PS5, because they have to be connected together with an HDMI cable. You can whip out your flippin' laptop and remote access into your computer that's connected to your gameplay capture device, which is connected to your PS5, and you can open up your gameplay capture software and capture the gameplay through the computer while playing the freaking Portal in another room. I literally played the Portal on my couch the other day, upstairs in the living room, and put my laptop on the coffee table, remote accessed into my computer downstairs, which was getting a feed from the PS5. The PS5 is on when you're playing the Portal, and I just like clicked record and I recorded a bunch of gameplay footage that was used in a video that you've already seen. You can't tell. It worked great, man. I could go to a freaking gaming convention and use the Portal to connect to my PS5 and record gameplay footage from my hotel room using my computer that's in another state. And I figured that out. No one told me about that. That was all me. I'm so proud of myself. The other thing I haven't heard anybody talk about is how comfortable the flippin' controls are on the Portal. They're not exactly the same shape as the DualShock 5. Is that what it's called? The normal controller for the PlayStation 5. This length right here is longer. It fills up your entire hand. Now I know that's to give you like purchase on to hold on to it because it's a mobile device, right? You don't want to drop it. This thing's expensive. I also feel like this is at a slightly different angle, like it's kicked out a little more than the PlayStation 5 controller. And if you've got bigger hands or tired wrists or you're just getting old, man, you realize like when you play the Switch, it's very horizontal. Your hands feel like they're like turned in, and it's exhausting to hold something like that. This feels like it's out. Imagine like riding like a motorcycle, like your hands are out like this. Imagine if you had to hold it like this. How tiring it would be, like you're driving a tank. That's what it feels like to hold the Switch. This feels like your hands are out like this. I would much rather play this than the Switch, even though the Switch is its own like standalone console, and I love the Switch. I'm not saying I don't like it, but in terms of ergonomics and comfort, the PlayStation Portal feels better to play. But let's flip the coin and talk about some of the negatives. Talking about the controller. The PlayStation 5 controller has all these little servos and actuators and vibrators and all kinds of crap built into it, all right? It has tons of force feedback and stuff. That's all built into the freaking PlayStation Portal. So when you pull back a bow in a game, you can feel the tension as you push down the analog stick. But in the Portal, those little servos and motors are loud as hell. They are so loud. The little rumble packs or whatever, holy jeez, God, it sounds like the freaking thing's rattling itself apart. I'm not even joking. Playing this with the volume all the way down in bed at night with my wife trying to sleep next to me, like I was afraid it was gonna wake her up. It was so loud. So I don't know what you can do about that. Just the functioning of the device, even with the sound of the game off, is just loud. It's just loud, okay? So that's something to be on the lookout for. But that also leads me to my next point, the worst feature of this, the thing that brings it down more than anything else. The PlayStation Portal isn't tied to your PS5. It's tied to like your specific account on the PS5. So it's tied to like the RNG Gamer account. There's no real way to log out of the PS Portal and into like my daughter's account so she can play her games. The only way to do that is to like download the Sony PlayStation app on your phone and like deregister the PS Portal from an account and re-register it to some other person's account so they can use it and access their games. If you try to log out from one user on your PS5 to another, it won't let you do it. It's like a forbidden action, and I just don't understand the purpose of that. I'm sure it has something to do with the PlayStation Portal going through Sony's servers before it coming to you, right? It's going from the PlayStation 5 through Sony's servers and checking things, and I think maybe there's some like upscaling or processing happening on their end before it zips it over to the Portal and you see what's going on. That also concerns me because when the network goes down, when the Portal is no longer supported, you can't use it. You can't just like connect it to your Wi-Fi in your house and just expect it to work because it is going through Sony. And I don't like that. Normally that would be a deal breaker for me. Another downside is that although this thing works a lot better than I was expecting, there is a little bit of noticeable input delay when you're playing. From the time you hit a button till you see the character jump on the screen, there's a little fraction, maybe a few frames, that is noticeable. And that makes sense. Of course it makes sense. It's going through like servers and connecting over Wi-Fi and all this crap. Of course there's gonna be a little bit of delay. It's very, 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 very playable, even with the delay. But I will say when I got to the end of Astrobot, the very last level, the Ultra Challenge level, I was playing it on my Portal. And I worked on that last level for like maybe an hour, 40 tries or something like that. And I got very close to finishing it many times, but I just couldn't. It got a little late, so I came downstairs and just decided to play in the game room on the big TV, and I beat it on my third try. It felt noticeably better playing it on the actual PS5 on a real TV than on the Portal. I'm not saying I couldn't beat that level on the Portal. I'm just saying it's a little bit harder than it is if you were playing it on the TV. Now, if you're just playing like some story-based game, or you're playing an RPG, or 90% of most games, you're gonna be fine. But if you're playing some white knuckle, super competitive, high timing sort of game, like a fighting game or a shoot 'em up or a really fast twitch first person shooter or something like that, it might put a little bit of an extra burden on you. I'm not saying you can't do it, but don't let that deter you, okay? It's good for like 95% of gaming, all right, on the PlayStation 5. And the PlayStation 5 itself, on a modern TV with a wireless controller, it's got some input delay anyway. Games are designed around that these days. There's a little bit of a buffer and a little bit more forgiveness. It's not like you're playing an arcade game back in the day. But if I was gonna grab some like arcade game like Battle Garega, one of the hardest arcade games ever made that was ported to the PS4, and I put that PS4 disc in my PS5, and I tried to play that on the Portal, I don't think I could do it. I just don't think I could. But I think you could beat like Elden Ring, no problem. Elden Ring is tough, but it's not so tight that you couldn't do it on this, okay? I think you could definitely do it. So the Portal's kind of hard to review. because you want to compare it to the real thing because it's accessing the PS5. But it's not the same thing. It's like reviewing a portable camping stove. It could be the best portable camping stove in the world, but it's just not going to be as good as your average stove at your home. You don't compare it to your home stove, you compare it to other portable camping stoves. The PlayStation Portal is not as good as just the PlayStation 5, okay? It's $200. You know, it's not really processing anything, it's just streaming something to your hands. That compared to other handhelds, it kind of blows them out of the water in my opinion. It's just more fun to play. I just enjoy it better. It feels better. The games on it, I mean, they're PlayStation 5 games and a lot of cool stuff I want to play is on the PlayStation 5. It's not on the Switch. It's definitely not on the Game Boy Advance. I mentioned at the beginning of the video I didn't know who this was made for. And I've decided that the PlayStation Portal is made for 3 different groups. Group 1, you don't own a PlayStation 5, but you want to play PlayStation 5 games. All you gotta do is get you a Portal and a PlayStation Plus account with the Sony's version of Game Pass or whatever it's called. You have access to all of those games. For $200 to access a bunch of PS5 games seems like a pretty good deal. If you don't have a PS5 or you don't have room for one, or you're a college student and you don't have a big 4K TV, this will work. Group 2, you travel a lot and you really want to play your PlayStation 5 stuff and you can't take your PlayStation 5 with you and none of the TVs or the hotel rooms are good enough to play 4K and they don't have good game lag reduction and all those sort of things and it's just hard to play, whatever. This will let you do that, okay? You connect to your hotel room's Wi-Fi and you play your games off your PlayStation 5 at home. Group 3, you have a PlayStation 5, but it's just not in the family living space. And even if it was, you couldn't play a bunch of the games because the TV's in use or something like that, right? Your wife's watching CSI Miami and you want to play Balatro, but she wants you to sit on the couch with her, but you don't want to watch CSI Miami. Well, this lets you just access your console on the other part of the house. As a grown adult with kids and a wife and responsibilities, you don't realize how much downtime you have while you're just sitting around for just a few minutes waiting on the next thing to happen. I played my PlayStation Portal for 10 minutes while I waited for water to boil to make spaghetti. That's 10 minutes, but it's 10 minutes I wouldn't have had. And those things over the course of a week, they add up to a couple of hours. Just a few weeks of that and you can finish a game. So when I paid $200 for this, I wasn't buying a device. What I was buying was time. The most precious thing of all. More time to play my games. So how is the PlayStation Portal? What would I grade it as? Well, as a device, it's very, very good. Much better than I was expecting. There is the input delay, there is the having to have a Wi-Fi, and there is the chance that it won't work one day because Sony stopped supporting it and they shut down the servers. With those things in mind, I would give this device an 8 out of 10. However, caveat to that, the value of this device is a 10 out of 10. I've already gotten over 100 hours of extra game time because of this device that I wouldn't have had without it, and I've only had it a couple months. You cannot put a price on time. You cannot do it. This is a must buy. If you own a PlayStation 5 and you're a grown adult with responsibilities and possibly kids and possibly a wife, you have to buy one of these. It's the best thing I've bought for my game collection in years, and I'm not exaggerating. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the review of the PlayStation Portal. If you already have one, let me know down below what your experiences are with it, or if you're gonna get one yourself. While you're down there, do me a favor and do that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you think I've earned it. Give me a like. It's the best way to help me with the YouTube algorithm. The messages you saw on the screen and the names you see now, well, those are from my channel members and my Patreon supporters. The links to those are down below. They get access to the videos early. They get access to member exclusive videos. They get their names in the videos. There's a whole bunch of things they can do to help out old RNG Gamer. I really appreciate them and I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And I'll catch you next week.